All right, well, tonight we're going to talk about an alternative to the regular classroom stuff. We're going to talk about electronic learning. Just a brief introduction. Basically, the only constant we seem to see throughout our various careers, of course, mine in the military years and human resources years in accounting, is that change is continuous and constant. Whether, whichever career path we're going down at any given time, it seems like that's the one constant. It's always change. To adapt to that, obviously we kind of adapt learning methods at the same time. All right. That said, e-learning is something that's developed over recent years, especially in regards to changes in technology. We've come up with more ways to learn via the electron. All right. Especially applies to internet. All right. We see initiatives, of course, in the military with like Navy Knowledge Online, MarineNet. I'm sure the Air Force has something. I'm sure the Army has something. I'm not real familiar with either of those. As well as video teleconferencing, both online via whatever the VTC machine is. Not very savvy on that one. Over the phone, and then via the internet. So what do we think, ladies? Face-to-face communication like this in the classroom settings is still important?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Think maybe a mix would be effective, or?
Well, you have some students who prefer face-to-face. They like the interaction, with the students and the teacher. And then there's others who prefer, the internet method. So
Okay.
I think it's a preference.
How about that? What about teleconferencing? I think that's an effective means for learning.
Yes, I think that's very effective in business and corporation, especially if you have global offices and you're doing training. Teleconferences plays a big role in that. Training.
Okay. By that, of course, the internet, I alluded to it earlier with Navy Knowledge Online, MarineNet. I know we'll talk a little bit later about Dow and how they implemented electronic learning. What about a CD or DVD-ROM? Any examples of that?
We definitely see those advertised on the television. What was that one example?
Telemarketers.
Telemarketers?
Telemarketing?
Yes.
Telemarketing.
Oh, okay.
Buy my CDs, I can tell you how to get rich.
Training that way.
Okay, so what are some of the benefits of electronic learning?
Standardization.
What do you mean?
Good question. Crap, you paused that.
Well, I think standardization would apply to maybe numerous locations, different plants of a particular company, or different locations across the country, across the world. Standardized training, especially if you're looking at multiple languages, someone has an international business spread out across the world, you can ensure that everyone in that business gets the same level of training.
Correct. It's
Right.
not
So standardized
different
across
per
the board.
trainer. Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, what about convenience and flexibility? We talked about that a little bit earlier, right?
Yeah, we talked about convenience. Convenience is good for, again, the parents or students who chooses to do learning via internet. Then that way they can alter their hours, or if they want to take online courses and still work 40 hours a week, they're able to do that. And especially for those who are mothers or parents, they can be at home, with their kids and not necessarily have to be in a classroom setting.
Okay, great. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
also like convenience.
Yeah, so basically it gives you the flexibility to log in whenever you want to and do your training then, as opposed to being in class from 6 to 8:50,
Yeah.
2 or 3 times a week, right? What about collaboration? Who's used Blackboard before?
Well,
Most
We all
of
have,
them.
discussion board, posting stuff to the electronic Dropbox, okay. And then another benefit, it appeals to a lot of senses, all right? What does that mean? I'm sorry, how does it appeal to different senses?
Well, you can put auditory and visual. Visual.
So you can plug in a headset and
you can hear it.
listen, okay? Because this is really effective, for instance, with language, like we alluded to earlier with CD-ROM, like Rosetta Stone is a big one that the government and the military both endorse. Okay. What about visual?
Visual, you can see it. It's right there in front of you.
Computer screen.
Yeah, it's great.
Absolutely. Okay, who's taking a test online? You ever taken a test online?
Yes.
Yes.
You get your score back when?
Immediately.
Immediately. And that's a good deal. Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to spend hours waiting for your accounting professor days waiting for your accounting professor to finish your first accounting test.
No, there's
In
a class I
couple years.
take a quiz, and it's like immediately I get my feedback.
Yeah.
And I
Absolutely.
Then you know you have to take it again.
True.
Okay, so how does electronic learning fit into business strategy now? Let me rephrase it. Ultimately, how does a business come up with a training plan to meet business strategy?
It's in their priorities.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, they prioritize something's important to the CEO or to management. All right, and then after that, come up with some kind of plan to meet that, or it could include electronic learning. If I'm a traditional classroom, it's been shown in the past to save between 25 and 60% time and about 50% less money than doing face-to-face learning, such as we're doing here. Dow Chemical, here's the example I alluded to earlier. Back in the year 2000, they had 61 people get fired, 540 others reprimanded for basically sending out unprofessional emails, which I'm sure neither of you have ever seen. I know I never have in my varied career in the Marine Corps, ever seen an unprofessional or inappropriate email. So Dow Chemical had something bad going on. So the CEO mandated that 40,000 people across the world took the same set of courses pertaining to professionalism in the workplace. All right, that was done on their website, learnitdow.now, and anyone across the world in a Dow corporation could log in and take these classes. I think it was 6 standardized classes, or 6 hours of standardized training. Okay.
So what's that on the internet, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah,
probably
learnitdow.now.
replaced the VHS.
Yeah, I tried to get on there. I don't know if the site's still running. I tried to get on there and I couldn't get on there recently. But anyway. At any rate, continued to grow from there. Went from 15 courses to 426, and beyond the professionalism type classes, they made their focus a lot more broad with everything from safety to hazardous material to business ethics. All right, so very effective for them. All said and done, they estimated about $30 million in savings worldwide and 30% less time spent training. Looking at some implementation considerations. Breeze through these a little bit. Hogarth, old Doc Hogarth, came up with some stages of implementation. We did the reading. Who knows these?
Well, Hogarth, that's just his view on implementing e-learning into the work environment.
Well, what did Hogarth say though?
But basically, he's saying that when you implement, first of all, when you introduce implementation, that means change, okay? And before you begin the implementation, you have to go through these 6 stages to make sure all the employees or users involved in that process it takes time. You just don't throw the program at them. You have to go through various stages to ensure that that whole program is embraced. And the first step he mentioned was initiation, which involves identifying, the problem. If you have a problem with technology, okay, and then why are we going to change? Why are we looking to change? And then second, he talked about adopting, and you want to just keep pushing out there, keep advertising any means necessary. Maybe you can use a newsletter, or you can use flyers around the office or on the campus, just to get these